So, good morning, yogis. Let's begin today on our bellies. And we'll start in Crocodile Pose. Coming onto belly, extending legs, maybe opening your legs a little wider than hip width, and planting the tops of the feet on the earth. Then you can stack your hands and let your forehead rest on your hands. And breathe here. Just allow a moment to connect with your breath. Notice how your breath is feeling. See if you can let it slow and deepen. And noticing the feedback of the mat, of the earth below you. And then see if you can allow the inhale and the exhale to be of equal length and strength, so that we can find some balance right now. So this time, this change of season, it starts to go into that Vata time of year, in the theory of Ayurveda, where it's more windy, things are dry, but right now we're not quite there yet, but it's a changeable time. So you could still start to feel the effects of some of the properties of Vata. You could feel a little maybe unstable, with the higher winds, the drier air, the changing. When I started to think about this class, we were kind of in a cold snap. So I was feeling we really were making that shift. But then this week it's a little warm now that we're actually executing it. So it really is an example of the changeability of this time of year. So sometimes that could leave you feeling a little ungrounded. So this practice is intended to ground our energy at this time. And so we literally are grounding now as we connect our belly to the earth, as we pay attention to and deepen our breath. So take a few more breaths here and see again if you can concentrate on having the inhale and the exhale be equal. And notice if one is stronger, especially if you're doing a little gentle ujjayi. Often I find my exhale is a lot stronger than my inhale, and sometimes even longer. So let's see if we could let this be our practice today throughout the asana, the physical practice, to breathe equally. Equal strength, equal length. And that could be considered samavriti breath, that balanced breathing. So take another breath or two like that. And then let's begin our practice with a little back extension, so variation of Shalabhasana. It'll add some movement because it's really nice to warm up our joints with movement in the morning and then work into some strength building and holdings. But we'll start with a back extension to help strengthen the back body. So you can extend your arms long and kind of like you're in a little airplane, like Superman, and ground the tops of your feet and your belly and even your hip points into the earth. Inhale, you can lift your arms and chest, and then exhale, pull your elbows back. So bend your arms like in Devyasana arms. Maybe this is going to help you lift up a little higher and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Good. And then inhale and extend, maybe lower down a little bit, even, bring your gaze down towards the earth so your neck is neutral. And then on an exhale, turn your palms away and sweep your arms back, squeezing shoulder blades together again, and your triceps and your palms, like you're going to squeeze a block behind you. Inhale and extend. I got to make sure I have enough room against the wall. Exhale and bend and squeeze. Inhale, extend. Exhale, sweep your arms back and squeeze. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And again, now that you've gotten the movement, the hang of the movement and the flow, see if you can concentrate on the breath being equal. Two more. And last time. And then slowly lower back down and pause here for a moment. Maybe giving your hips a little wiggle. And then we'll go right into a child's pose to release that. So you can just come up slowly into tabletop, sit your hips back towards your heels. So I'm gonna let someone in here. And come into a child's pose and go slow, especially if that was a little bit intense doing those back extensions. Hopefully you felt, safe and easy doing that. And maybe here, take one of your blocks so that your head could rest on a block if it isn't connecting with your hands or the earth easily. And just settle here for a moment. Take one or two more breaths. And then let's rise up into tabletop. You can prop under your knees if that feels more comfortable, keeping the knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders, fingers spread wide. And then on an inhale, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, lifting the heart and gaze. Exhale, tucking the tail, rounding the spine, and dropping the head. And go back and forth like that. Inhaling and exhaling of equal duration. So as we mobilize the spine, we're finding some comfort in the rhythmic breath, in the almost rocking movement. So there's some balance. And if you want to deepen this, you can by sending the hands a little farther forward so that when you come forward into this sort of cow back, the sway back or the dog tilt, you could even drop your hips forward and take sort of an upward facing dog. And then as you go into that cat back, that rounded, the flexion, you could draw your hips back towards your heels and take like an extended child's. So go back and forth like that for a moment or two. So deepening our cat-cow. As you almost go forward into a slight upward facing dog. Maybe you're going all the way there, that's fine too. And then extended child as you round. But make sure you're rounding there so that we're deepening this spinal mobilization. Good. And then come back to neutral for a moment. We're going to add on. So this time, actually, let's go back to our child's pose. So go back to your child's pose for a moment. Pause there, noticing how you feel. And then we'll send our arms back behind us. You can even have the backs of the hands on the earth. And we're going to rise up into a knee stand, extending our arms out to the side. So take a sun breath here. Good. And then exhale, bring your hands to prayer. Good. A couple more times like that. Just getting some nice opening in the shoulders. If you like, you can add some movement to the neck as well. So as your arms go out to the side and start to rise up, you can lift your gaze, leading with your chin, and then exhale as your hands come to prayer, bring your chin down towards your chest. Good. So one more time like that. Good. And exhale your hands through prayer. Good. Nice. Nice. So then we'll do a cat-cow set one more time. And this time we're going to extend our leg out to the side. So you can have your hands on the earth or blocks for support, or you could just stay upright and bring your leg out to the side. Now, really pay attention to how the foot is here. You could have it really nice and dorsiflexed so that the pinky toe side of the foot is lifted. And maybe you can engage your inner thigh. You could ground the pinky toe side down if that feels like a nice stretch and strengthen it for your ankle. Or you could externally rotate the thigh so that the toe is up to the sky. So up to you on what you do. And then you can have your hands on the earth for a moment and we can rock back and forth like this. Actually, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. I'm coming forward, maybe even adding that extension and that little bit of a cat or the cow back, and then exhale, rounding a little bit the cat back and going back. So continuing with our spinal movement and now getting into the hips. So getting a little mobilization in our hips now, which might feel nice. I'm keeping my extended leg really active. So I'm starting to feel a little, even a stretch in the groin and activating my inner thighs. And I'm flowing with my breath. I'm keeping my breath of equal duration, inhaling and exhaling. Good. And then come back up to neutral. Back to neutral. Good. And then let's walk our hands in. We're going to rise up into sort of a variation of our gate pose. Actually, it's a variation of triangle pose. We're going to do something here. We're going to take a side bend, but we're going to start really slow. So your left knee is under the hip, that right leg is active and in whatever position suits you today. Inhale with this left arm, like you're taking a half sun breath. The arm goes all the way up to the sky and you're getting long from the knee to the fingertips. And then exhale, turn your palm away and lower the arm. So again, do that a couple of times. Inhaling, good, and exhale. And have that movement in sync with the breath. Now let's do that a couple more times. We're going to add an arc over the right leg. So inhale, the arm up long, create that length, and start to arc over to the right. Start to engage the core to stabilize this movement, and then lower the hand down. So each time, maybe we're going to arc a little more to the right. And inhale. And exhale. So this next time, let's hold this. And I just had my hand on my belly to reinforce that idea of engaging the core, but you could have the right hand rest on the right thigh. And then spin your heart towards the long side of your mat or forward so that you're not, collapsing down. Feel this beautiful length from the left knee to the fingertips and the stretch on the left side body, and see if you can focus your breath there and strengthen that side of the left lung, maybe dissipate some heat from the organs, find a little balance in in this pose. Lateral movements are thought to, let heat, so they're cooling, and they also are calming and balancing to the nervous system. So maybe notice that, maybe deepen it. And then let's rise up. We're going to go into a side plank. So lower your left hand onto the earth. It's directly under the shoulder or a little farther forward. You have enough room between this arm and the left knee so that you can press your hips forward. Maybe even bring your hand on your hips so that you can do that. Because a lot of times we tend to have the hips back. Press it forward. Good. Activate the extended leg. Maybe extend the arm. Let's even add a sun breath like we did. So arm by the side. Inhale, our arm overhead, and then maybe start to arc it over your ear. And then exhale it down. Good. And then inhale it open. And exhale it down. So then maybe one more time, go to your fullest expression. The arm could rest by the side, could stay overhead, or it could be overhead in line with the ear. So you've got this whole stretch on the right side body now. Spin your heart open towards the sky as much as you're able, once again, so you don't collapse forward. And then if you want to challenge, you could even lift your right leg. And then windmill that hand down to the earth. Come back to tabletop, and then maybe sit back to child's pose, even sweeping your arms back. So you give your shoulders a little rest. The backs of the hands could be on the earth or on the soles of your feet. And hopefully the forehead is connecting with the mat or the earth. And take a few breaths here, returning to that balanced breathing if it got away from you in the movements. And preparing for the other side. So when you're ready, we will rise up into a knee stand, take a couple more sun breaths, arms wide to the side, overhead to prayer, and then prayer to our heart. 2 more times like this. Inhaling, arms wide to the side, maybe even lifting gaze, and then exhale, prayer to the heart, maybe chin to chest. 1 more time. Inhale. And then exhale. So you can stay here and extend your left leg, or you can have your hands on the earth or blocks for support as you extend the left leg. And find the foot position that feels comfortable for you. I'll give an opportunity for an add-on here that I forgot to mention before. So we'll bring our hands onto the earth, and you can go back and forth again, sort of taking a little bit of an extension as you go forward and a little flexion as you go back, but then getting into the hip movement. If you want, you could stay high here with your hands in prayer and, sit back and come up. You won't go forward in this movement, but you're setting back a little bit more and then coming up. So notice how this feels. And maybe this is a nice variation on this side, challenging a little bit more, activating the groin a little bit more. Could even extend the leg, externally rotate the leg, trying that. Into the adductors, the inner thigh muscles. And then we will all rise up now. And I probably will neutralize my leg, make it more of a Tadasana leg. So toes facing forward, whether my pinky toe side of foot is lifted or lowered. Left hand rests on the thigh, and then right arm sweeps up to the sky. So again, turning your palm towards the sky, sun breath, and then lengthen it all the way overhead, right there in line with your ear, and lengthening from right knee to fingertips, and then exhale, palm down. So a few times like this. Deepening the breath, maybe focusing on the right side only, and then exhale lower. Now let's start to add an arc. We're going to fold to the left. And so you can start small. We don't have to go right to our fullest expression immediately, right? It feels nice to just go slow. Each time maybe you're arcing a little more. Feeling a little more space between your intercostal muscles, between the ribs. Maybe feeling the breath is deepening and more focused on the right side. And this next time, hold here and breathe. Spinning your heart open. Take 1 more breath. And then let's slowly come back up to center and lower that hand onto the earth, or even on a block if that feels better to have a little extra height there. Press your hips forward so your body's on one plane. And then let's let the left hand rest on our thigh for a moment. And let's add some sun breaths here. So sending the palm up to the sky, overhead in line with your ear, and then exhale and down. balanced breathing. This next time, when you go to your fullest expression of this side plank, hold it there. Spin your heart open. Reach from fingertips to heel, and maybe even lift the left leg if you like. Engaging the core for stability. Finding equanimity in your breath and in the posture. And slowly lower the hand down, or the foot down, the hand down, bring your leg in, and you can go back into one more child's pose. We'll just be here for a moment because we're going to turn this into a dog pose. Or of course, puppy pose could always be a good alternative. So you can lift your hips up a little bit, keeping them over the heels as you walk your hands forward and melt your heart to the earth, even coming onto forearms. Just keeping a nice sense of length from your hips to your elbows or your fingertips. If you'd like to do dog pose, you can ground your hands a little forward from where they would have been in our tabletop, and then curl toes under and send your hips to the sky. And breathe here. Head between your arms, spinning inner arms up to the sky. Maybe getting a sense that you're squeezing your shoulder blades together like we did before in our Shalabhasana warm-up. Lifting hips, softening knees, maybe pedaling your feet out. And breathe here. Taking one more breath or two. Maybe even bring your legs towards straighter if you can, engaging the fronts of your legs so the heels can descend. And then let's look toward our hands. And we want to walk, step, or hop our feet forward. So if you like, you can even take a walking split if that sounds like fun for you. You could hop forward. You can roll over your feet if you were in your dog, your puppy pose. And then find your Uttanasana, your forward bend. Rise up halfway, get long from hips through crown of head. Then exhale, go back into your fold, bend your knees until your belly's on your thighs. Lift your chest, send your arms wide to the side like we did in our knee stand. Maybe even lifting gaze towards palms. Palms come together and then come to your heart. And pause and notice how you're feeling now. Nice work. So now we'll do a little lunge sequence that we will also conclude with a balance pose. And I'd like us to do our supported warrior 3 today. So bring your blocks to the top of your mat so that you can use them for the lunges and also for your warrior 3. And I'm even keeping them on the high side right away, but you can move them. But for warrior 3, the supported warrior 3, we definitely want them on the high side like this, so they're tall. All right, so we'll talk about that more when we get there. So from Tadasana, connecting feet to earth, tone to the belly, lengthen through crown of head. Take a big inhale, sun breath, arms wide to the side. You can even lift your gaze to look at your hands and take an extension here. Exhale, hand through prayer and a forward fold. Inhale, take your half lift. And then exhale and fold and send your left leg back. Bend your right knee and pause in a low lunge for a moment. So the knee is over the ankle, the left leg is extending its back as far as you're able. Good. And breathe here. Inhale, and then exhale and lower your knee down. And then we'll take a little vinyasa here by sending the knee a little forward of the ankle, maybe even dropping the hips and lifting your heart so you take an extension. And then exhale, as you extend your leg, draw your hips back and maybe lift your toes. We'll do that a couple of times. So inhale, rising up, lifting, heart, relaxing the shoulders down and back. And then exhale and extend. And then one more time, inhale, lifting your heart. And then exhale and extend and hold it here, squaring your hips. Good, lifting the toes up to the sky, walking your hands back so they're underneath your shoulders, melting your heart, and maybe even rounding the spine. Bring your head towards your knee. Take one more breath. And then let's rise up. Come, lift the head, bend the knee, and bring it right over your ankle again. Let's lift the back leg and find our low lunge. Good. Then we're going to rise up into our warrior one. So however you'd like to get there, you could, just rise up with core and leg strength. You can use your hands on your thigh. You could have your blocks. So you decide. And then once you get up, send your arms to the sky. And here you are in your warrior one pose. And then notice how this feels today. Widening your stance if you need a little bit more balance, or balance control, stepping in and shortening the stance, again for the same reason. So make it feel stable for you, or even grounding the back foot. So I do the Crocodile version where our heel is over the toes, and it's a little more balance challenging, so you could even plant that foot if you like. Right? So see what feels comfortable for you. But keeping a frontal orientation of your body, your arms extend to the sky. Inhale here, and then exhale as you extend your arms forward, bringing palms together or parallel as little sword hands, lengthening through the outer arms, really reaching forward. Inhale again as you bend your elbows and draw your arms back into Navasana, squeezing your shoulder blades together. And then extend your arms to the sky. And then exhale, bring your arms forward. Inhale and open. And then extend. Exhale as you send your arms forward. And then squeeze the shoulder blades together, lifting your arms. Take another breath or two, and then extend your leg here. Extend your right leg. Maybe let the left heel ground if you can. Bring your hands onto your hips, square your hips, and then hinge forward and pause here into a pyramid pose. Yeah, and just keeping your torso parallel to your hips, lengthening from hips to crown of head, maybe grounding the back foot and keeping the front knee as soft as you need to. Notice I keep it a little soft, squaring your hips. Good. And breathe. Take one more breath. And then bend your right knee. Reach your hands down and take hold of your blocks. You may even have to step in with the left foot if you took a real wide stance. Find sort of a tabletop position so that your hands are underneath the shoulders, the right foot is underneath your hip. And then when you're able, see if you can start to lift your leg and take your supported warrior three. And then focus on extending that the standing leg. Lift your lifted leg and draw the toes down and the inner thigh up so your hips are square. Tone your belly and lengthen from crown of head to heel, like we do in our, sometimes we'll do this in Chakrabakasana, that sunbird, when we're on our hands and knees. You can even imitate that by extending your right arm and really give a little extra challenge. One more breath, and then lower your hands, lower your foot, maybe even stepping forward again so that you can just melt forward into an Uttanasana. Rise up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale back into our Uttanasana. Bend your knees until your belly's on your thighs. Big sun breath, arms wide to the side, maybe extending your gaze, and then bring your palms together at heart center. And notice how you're feeling now. Other side, big inhale, get long, maybe extend, forward, bend. Inhale, half lift, returning to that balanced breath if you forgot. So keep that breath balanced as we move. Send the right leg back. Bend your left knee, find your low lunge. Lower your right knee down. Inhale, come forward. Good, as you drop your hips, maybe lift your heart, maybe find more of an extension. And then exhale, extend the leg, lifting the toes. And go back and forth like that a few times. Rounding the spine as you extend the legs, you're finding a little bit of a cat back. Inhale, squeezing shoulder blades together as you extend into the knee down lunge. Last time, hold this modified split rounded. Drawing the navel in, dropping the head towards your knee. Maybe even lifting your toes. And then come on back into our knee down lunge and pause here. Curl your right toes under, lift the leg. Go ahead. Find nice stable leg. Actually, if you want to modify this position of your warrior one, it's good to do it here. So if I wanted to widen my stance, I could heel toe my left foot out while I have my hands on the earth and I'm a little more stable. I can even plant my back foot or step in if I know I want a shorter stance today. So make your modifications here and then rise up into warrior one, however you'd like to get there, with blocks, leg strength, or kind of rolling up in a dangling movement. And then find your position, activate the legs, tone the belly, flex the shoulders. Inhale here, and then exhale, send your arms forward, really reaching your palms together like little sword hands. And then exhale, squeeze shoulder blades together, broad across your collarbones. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, sending your arms forward. Inhale, squeeze again, drawing arms back. And then inhale, rise up. So continue this little cycle of movement. Really squeezing the back of the shoulder blades together in this Navasana variation. And linking the movement with your breath, keeping the inhale and exhale balanced. Last time here. And then stay in your Navasana position, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Straighten your left leg, and then even step in with the right leg or ground the right leg so you're in your pyramid pose. Rotate your shoulders so your hands can come onto your hips, or actually you can keep them here. Sorry, I think we kept them here the first round as we, drew the left hip back, hinge from our hips, and pause when our torso is parallel to the earth. So you're finding this hands-free variation of pyramid. You could even release the hands onto the hips, or you can keep them here together and squeeze the shoulder blades together. So you're going into this posture with an open heart, finding that balanced breath. Toned belly, calm mind. And now soften the left knee, lower your hands onto the block. Make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders and the left foot is underneath that hip. Start to walk that right leg in and then lift it as much as you're able. Squaring the hips if you can. Strong left leg, lengthen from crown of head to heel. If you like a little extra challenge, you could extend your left arm. And lower the hand down, lower the foot down, and go into your forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold again, bend your knees, belly and thighs, strong legs rise us up. Hands to prayer and prayer to our hearts. All right, now let's turn and step out. Let's do a little triangle series. You may want to have your blocks in between your legs because we will add a twist here. So our feet are parallel in our wide stance for Trikonasana. Externally rotate the right leg and keep the left foot in that Tadasana leg. Tone your belly, lift your arms. How about we just go wide to the side for a moment? So all the way up to the sky, big, long through the sideways. Keep that sideways long as you lower your arms to shoulder height. Go ahead and relax the shoulders down the back. Tuck the right hip under, reach forward with your right arm in rib cage. Then lower that hand down, the left arm up to the sky. So find your triangle pose. And then we're going to add a little flow like we did in our warm-ups. So exhale, lower that arm down. And then inhale, spin your palm to the sky and lift the arm. So you can do that sun breath a few times as we manage this pose. We have our legs active, our side waist lengthening. And then you can start to arc that as you go along, you can start to arc your extended arm overhead in line with your ear. Flowing with your balance, breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Now this next time, send the arm overhead in line with the ear and pause here in this variation of Utthita Trikonasana, where we extend the arm and we have this length from your left hip to fingertips. Spin your heart open. Breathe here. Take one more breath. And then soften the knee. Windmill the left hand down to the earth and find your blocks or the mat. Good. And we'll do a little rotation here in our Prasarita. So you can just take a moment and melt forward if that feels really nice to you. Shifting the weight towards the balls of the feet, keeping the hips, knees, and ankles aligned. Hips lifting like in dog pose. You're hinging through your hips and letting the torso lengthen. Palm breath. And then rise up halfway, ground your right hand onto the earth or your block, tone the belly, and then we'll add a little vinyasa here as we take a couple rotations. So send that left arm to the left and then up to the sky. Exhale back down to the earth. 2 more times and then we'll hold. This next time we'll hold open here in this twist. So strong legs, toned belly, and feel the rotation from your navel up through the crown of your head. And you're broad across your collarbone, across your chest. And your breath is balanced. Equal inhale and exhale. And then lower that hand down onto the earth or block. And then we'll add a rotation here. Inhale, right arm up towards the sky. And then exhale, derotate. Inhale and open again. And exhale. And last time, inhale and open and hold here. Pause and breathe. Lengthening from hips to crown of head. Rounding through left arm, but reaching up through right arm. Take one more breath here. And then slowly unwind. Go into that fold one more time. Melting here. And then decide how you'd like to come out of the fold. You can lift up halfway. You can bring your arms out like a T or onto your hips, or you can bring your legs together if that feels comfortable for you, or a better way to lift up. So you decide. Good. And then when you get to the top, we want to go back out to the wide-legged stance. So if you brought your legs together, you can step or hop out again. If you came up with wide legs and you're okay to stay here, we're going to go right to the left side. So externally rotate that leg. Right leg stays in Tadasana. Belly engages. We take a big sun breath, lengthen through both sideways, maintain that length as we lower our arms back to shoulder height. Tuck your left hip under, reach forward with your left arm and rib cage, lower it down, right arm to the sky. Tone the belly. See if you can get some length on both sides, even though the upper side might feel a little longer, especially with this flow now, as we lower our arm by the side. And then we inhale the arm back up to the sky. Exhale. Balance breathing. And this next time you can start to add the arc. Maybe have the arm come overhead in line with your ear. And bring it back down. And then inhale again. Now this next time, let's hold it all the way over in line with the ear. Long line of energy from hips to fingertips, spinning your heart open. Breathing here. And then yogis with your strong legs and core, rise all the way up to standing this time. Whew, that was a big lift up. Hands onto the hips. You can heel toe, step or hop your feet together. And we'll do one more balance. We'll go into a tree. Go near a wall or a chair if you like. Put the weight into your left leg, pick up the right leg, externally rotate that hip. The heel over the ankle, on the calf, or to your inner thigh. Good. Find your Vrikshasana today as you draw your legs, your outer hips together, lengthening up from the pelvic floor through the crown of the head. Hands could remain on the hips or on a prop at the heart. And pause here. Finding your calm breath, soft gaze. Maybe extending the arms to the sky if you like. Feel that length through both sideways that we just cultivated in our triangle practice. Finding the ease, the peace and ease in the equanimous breath. The balanced inhale and exhale. Slowly make your way out as we prepare for the other side. Maybe shaking out the feet if that was a lot on your standing foot. And here we go. Right foot grounds, left leg externally rotates, and we find our foot position on this side. Drawing in and then taking that length all the way up through the crown of the head. So expressing Vrikshasana whatever way feels suited for you today on this side. And then slowly make your way back out. And let's take a few sun breaths that we will take down to the mat. So big inhale and exhale, hands to our heart. Again, inhale, maybe lifting your gaze, and exhale your hands to your heart. Last time. Now let's go all the way down onto the mat. So however you'd like to get there. You can even go by way of a Navasana squat. I think we got our hips prepared for that, if that feels okay for you. Oh yeah, okay. See a few folks making their way down to the squat. Then you're close to bring your hands behind you and slowly lower your hips for an abdominal set. Okay, so this is going to be like a Navasana Prep pose. And have your blocks handy too, because we'll use them in our crunches on our back. So first we're going to do some Navasana Prep to work our lower belly. So keep your knees bent, feet on the earth, and then bring your hands by your sides. Fingers probably facing your toes, but see what feels comfortable in your shoulders. Extend your arms so that you can lift your heart and feel that you're keeping your back straight. You know, you're drawing your back body in. So the back body is as active as the front body. We're going to do a little bit more work in the low belly and even the psoas and the hip flexors. So, but keep a nice long spine and you're kind of even leaning back a little bit. So send your arms back a little. Heart's lifted, belly's toned. Pick up your right leg and then lower it down and pick up the left leg. So the heels are digging in, the toes are lifted. Your feet are dorsiflexed, and you're just raising and lowering one leg at a time. So see if you can start to draw the low belly in to activate the lower belly in this movement. Keep the back body active and drawing in. And maybe one more time each side. And notice how that felt. You know, just kind of reinvigorate that position if you kind of collapse. Sometimes we collapse when we're in movements a lot. So, you know, activate the back body, engage the lower belly, and bring your feet together, especially your heels together. And now this gets a little tricky, so make adjustments if you need to lean back a little bit more. But can you lift both legs and then lower? So I'm really even drawing my heels toward each other. I'm going to try to keep my arms straight, which is a little tricky to do that in this. Now, the next time you lift your legs, keep them lifted, and then can you extend them, and then bend them and bring them in. And then extend, so you're in your Paripurna Navasana, and then bringing them in. And keep the nice strong back, so your back body is drawing towards the front body. Your heart is lifting, and you're feeling you're engaging the transverse abdominals, the low belly. Can we do a couple more like this? Bring it in, and then extend it out. And bring it in, and extend it out. One more. You got one more? Bring it in, extend it out. Hold here. Maybe even release your arms and take that low Navasana. So you're maybe holding onto hamstrings, maybe letting your arms extend. Even pointing your feet. And then bend the knees, lower the feet. Come onto our backs after that work and just pause for a moment and notice. So this was, like I said, a big strengthener for our psoas, which is a deep core muscle. So allow that to release and then take one of your blocks and bring it to your inner thighs. Squeeze that block as we start to work on the various, the upper and lower belly. So we'll start with our lower belly again. So squeeze the block, keep your feet grounded in this reverse table. And then inhale as you tilt the tailbone down and arch your low back, and you're kind of relaxed. And on the exhale, tilt your tailbone up to the sky, start to press your low back and low belly down. Engage your low belly, even like you're drawing your hip points together. And then inhale and arch and release. And then exhale and squeeze. Good. You could even keep your hands on your hip points so that you can get that feeling of the low belly really drawing down. And it's almost like you want to draw the two halves of your pelvis together. They're not, of course, moving, but it's a feeling that you might get. Good. Keeping the breath long. Inhale and exhales of equal duration and strength. And how about a couple more like that? Last time. Really working the low belly. Good. And then pause. Just pause, don't do anything. Now we're going to add the upper body, the upper abdominals, and the lower at the same time. So bring your hands to a crunch position. Again, keep squeezing the block. Now this time, as you press your low back down and draw in the low belly, lift your upper body and feel like you're working your upper abdominals. And then inhale and lower. So it's our crunch that we usually do, but we're using our low belly a little bit more. And we're going slow and just moving with greater awareness, greater engagement. And linking the movement to a calm, steady breath. So how about 4 more? And how about last time? Good. And pause. Maybe release your hands if you like, and even rock your head side to side if that caused any tension in your neck, because we've got one more round. We're just going to change our leg position, and you have 2 options. Just one more set. So you can lift your legs into a reverse table and keep squeezing that block, or you could extend them into sort of a 45-degree angle, right? So you decide. You might even do half and 4 and then 4. We'll do about a set of 8. And when you're ready, so we are still curling the pelvis, engaging the low belly, and lifting the upper belly. And then inhale and lower. Keep squeezing the block. Drawing the low belly in. Lifting your upper body. And honoring your neck. So you might just be kind of lifting your head up to the sky. So you're keeping your neck nice and neutral and just working the rectus abdominals. So how about 2 more? And last time. And then slowly lower your head, bend your knees and lower your feet, remove the block. And pause here for a moment. Good. Let's maybe send our arms out like a T, walk your feet out mat width apart, and then windshield the legs side to side. And maybe as you let your knees draw down, you could lift the hips and get a nice stretch in the whole abdominal wall, your psoas after that work. Adding a little rotation, a little rocking movement, which is soothing to the nervous system. And flowing with our breath again. And the next time your legs go to the right, if you want to hold here, you can. You could even let the heel come onto the knee and draw that knee down and looking over the left shoulder. And then you can come on back up and go to the other side. Maybe hold for a couple of breaths. And then release that. Bring your knees back up to the sky, your neck back to neutral. Maybe keep your feet where they are for a moment and let the knees drop together. This internal rotation of the hips of each half of the pelvis, and notice how that feels. Reconnecting with the breath. The abdominal work could have been a little vigorous, so you may have the breath may have gotten away from you, so see if you can reclaim that now. And then maybe let the knees go apart and the feet go together, so we go into our Supta Baddha Konasana. And notice how this feels. Let's bring our legs together. Bring your knees in towards your chest and give them a squeeze. Maybe you can peel your head up, nose to knees. And then you can lower your head and shoulders again, and maybe rock side to side or make circles to massage the low back. And go in the other direction if you do that. And then bring that movement to stillness. Let's go into one more happy baby or a variation of Baddha Konasana. So let your knees go apart. Hold on to your shins or maybe the outside edges of your feet. Good. You can stay here and just hold this. You could even rock side to side in this movement. Maybe massaging more of the back body. You can even roll all the way to one side. Yeah, maybe the leg comes onto the earth, but then use core strength to rise back up. So you can rock side to side, but you're using a little bit of your core to enable you to come back to center. You can bring your feet up towards the sky if you like to. In the more traditional variation of happy baby. Oops. Might be harder to roll back to center when you do that. And then let's all come back through center here. You can bend the knees and bring the legs back in. Give them one more squeeze. And then slowly release one leg and then the other. Making yourself comfortable on your mat space. letting the legs drop out to the side, even grounding one half of the pelvis and the other. Releasing your arms by your sides as you spin your palms up to the sky, pressing the backs of your hands into the earth so you can squeeze your shoulder blades together. Now we'll rest here with our open palms and open hearts. Take a big inhale, and on an exhale, sigh it out as you ground the back of your head into the earth. Release any tension in your jaw. Soften your eyes, the space between your eyes. Take another big inhale now, and exhale and soften the throat, your chest, your shoulders, your arms. Feel the upper back connect to the earth, your low back soften. And take another big inhale here. And on an exhale, soften your belly, releasing the hips, your legs. And your feet drop out to each side. And rest here for these next few moments as you integrate your practice, restore your vital energy, and absorb the Shanti, the peace of yoga. I left Port Reyes, a seashore town close to San Francisco, heading for Sequoia National Park. I wanted to cross the Golden Gate Bridge, but I wasn't certain I could find it. City traffic was jarring after being in the woods, the mountains, and by the sea. Before long, however, I found myself at the front of the Golden Gate. As I drove the span of the bridge, I felt the same electric charge surge through me as I felt in Chamayo, in Caliente, and on the Flathead Reservation. It was the first time I realized that bridges are holy, sacred ground. Times of change are holy. We may not know where we're going. It may not feel like our feet are on solid ground. They aren't. We're crossing a bridge to another part of our lives. Sometimes we may find ourselves at this bridge unwittingly, not certain how we got there, not certain we want to cross. Other times we may have sought, prayed for, hoped for, longed for this time of change. Drive across the bridge. You don't have to understand it all right now. Information and understanding will come later. You'll get to the other side. For now, trust and experience what you're going through. Know that this time of change is sacred too. So allow your breath to deepen. Gently rock your head from side to side. Bring movement to fingers and toes. Sweep your arms overhead, reaching up through fingers and down through toes. Tucking your chin in towards your chest, taking a big stretch. And then on an exhale, release your arms, sweep them by your sides, maybe draw your legs in and give them another squeeze. And then with bent or straight legs, you can roll to right side and rest there for a moment. And then use the right elbow and left hand to sit up slowly, mindfully, drawing your head up last. Coming to a comfortable seat as you connect your sits bones to earth, tall in the belly, lengthen through the sideways, through the crown of the head. Maybe drawing hands together at heart center again, returning to your breath. The balanced breath of Samavriti. Or sometimes it's called, like a 1-to-1 ratio. You might think of it that way. And then to seal our practice, we'll join our voices in the eternal sound of creation, the sound of Om. Ah. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste.